Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at Ask Adam Torres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Lee Ellis on the line, and he is the president over at Leading with Honor. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Good to be with you.
So I'm excited to get into today's topic, which is leadership, but specifically areas of self-awareness and managing differences. I think it's a super important topic, one of the reasons I was really excited to get you on the line. But before we get into that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in the career?
Well, it's a long story, but I'm going to make it short. I'd always wanted to fly, and so after college, I went straight to Air Force and flight school. That was during the Vietnam War. I was a fighter pilot, was shot down and captured over North Vietnam, was a POW 5.5 years. So that's where I got my first start about gaining self-awareness and being able to relate to others, as I was locked up with some people from time to time for years at a time. After that, I came back home, went back into flying, had a great Air Force career, promoted up through a number of jobs and ranks until I retired in 1990. And since then, I've developed a career counseling organization, a career assessment organization. Once we got that up and going, then I launched my own business consulting, coaching, and training organization in 1998. So I've been doing that full-time since then. And I subsequently have written stories, leadership story lessons from my experience in a book in 2012, one in 2016, and then most recently we have another book that's called Leading with Honor, Discovering Natural Talents and Managing Differences, which is kind of the focus of a lot of what we do now, is helping leaders know who they are, understand others, and learn to maximize those differences rather than let them get in the way.
That's awesome. And what an amazing story you have and background. And, you know, I've done, maybe like 1,500 interviews, and you are my second fighter pilot. So I'm so excited about that, Lee.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I want to switch it up a bit. So you mentioned what you're doing over at Leading with Honors. You have a couple of books out, which I want to go a little bit further into that too. Let's just transition right into our topic. So let's start. What is leadership, specifically managing areas of self-awareness and managing differences? What does that look like to you?
Well, you know, as a leadership coach and trainer for more than 20 years, so one thing I know is it all has to start with self-awareness. You have to know before you can grow. You can't manage what you don't know. So you have to get that objective insights about yourself, which means some sort of an assessment usually, and quite often follow up with a 360 assessment that lets you know how others experience your leadership in various areas, how they experience your communication, your emotional intelligence, your mission focus, your ability to relate to people, those kind of things, because those are all areas that most of us need to grow in at some point in our career, and usually throughout our career. So good leaders are the ones I work with. Bad leaders, they don't want to work with me because they don't want they're not secure enough to be able to handle that they're not perfect. But good leaders know they're not perfect. They want to get better and take their people with them. So there, we always start with the self-awareness with some sort of an assessment. I've been working in assessments for 30 years, so that's a key area of my expertise. And once they see and agree that these are my strengths, these are areas of my struggle, I don't do these very well, or sometimes I overdo my strengths, and that gets me in trouble. Once they see that, then they're equipped to manage themselves. But that same information then becomes the foundation for them to be able to realize that, hey, other people are different. Some of them are like me in this way, and some of them are very different from me in this way, and some of them I have overlaps in some areas and very different in some areas. Then I see the reality that I've got to manage that person differently than I would manage this other person or myself, because everybody can't do the same things well, and you can't expect others to be able to do what you can do most of the time.
That's awesome. And So Lee, after doing 30 years of assessments, first off, I'm a big fan of assessments. I think they work very well, and they've helped me big time in my life. I've done them all, from Myers-Briggs to, I can't even name them all. I've probably done 10, 20, and I'm just, I might be an assessment junkie. I don't know. But that being said, where do you find, and because I know this is going to be different, obviously, for each person, and the organization, experience, age. I know all those things vary, but I do know, after doing and working with as many people as you have, that certain themes arise. Where do you find are some of those common things that lead to that leadership breakdown, if you will?
Yeah. Okay. Well, early on in the military, I learned the most basic, but the most important thing of all. First of all, if you can picture a pyramid, the bottom layer of that pyramid is character, integrity, so that you can be genuine, you can have values, because if you're not, don't have those, if you're not consistent there, people will not trust you and not want to follow you. The next level up is divided in half. And on one side is people, relationships, and then the other is mission and results. And so to accomplish the mission, you have to get results. You have to make things happen. You have to have standards. You have to have the vision. You have to clarify. You have to hold people accountable. But to do all that and to have a good work environment, you have to relate to the people because they do the work. So you have to also help them, connect with them and connect with their hearts so they feel valuable, they feel heard, they feel important, they feel part of the mission, they feel purpose. So what we've learned in 30 years of research is that 40% of the population is wired with natural talents for results, and 40% is wired with natural talents for relationship. 20% have some of both, and under pressure, they usually go to results. But here's the problem. If we use a seesaw, and by the way, neuroscientists now talk about the neural seesaw between task, results, and people, social. They call it the social network and the task network. So they're seeing the same thing that we've been seeing of this results relationship balance. So most leaders, all leaders are going to have something to work on, but most are either working on, they're highly results oriented and they're having to learn some people skills, or they're highly people oriented and they'll have to learn to be tough. So I tell leaders, you got to be tough when you need to be tough, and you got to be kind always and respectful always, and help people feel valued and important. That is a challenge, and that's where I end up doing most of my coaching.
Man, that's absolutely amazing. I love that breakdown. I've never heard of it. So some have 20% and they're just kind of wired to go right to. No, that's amazing. Lee, so there's some people listening to this right now and they're like, okay, Lee obviously knows what he's doing. He's the guy. What are the right type of clients and or organizations that you prefer to work with so that they know if they're the right type of person and or organization to follow up with you?
I love to work with anybody. I've worked with IT, banks, insurance companies, a lot with the military, you name it, I've been there. Automobile dealerships, okay? Small businesses, big businesses, Fortune 500, Fortune 200. I've worked at every level with executives at every level. And the only requirement I want is I want somebody who's healthy enough to want to grow and get better. Because if they don't want to do that, then I'd be wasting my time, they'd be wasting theirs, and they won't invite me in if they're insecure. And so, but I will say I have had some insecure ones that let me in the door a little bit, and then pretty soon I think they saw the light, so to speak, because they were good people. They saw the light and they saw, you know what, I probably can do these things better. I probably would be a better leader if I learned to connect with people so they felt valued and important.
That's awesome. And
or the reverse, learning. I have to learn how to get tough and do it kindly and respectfully, but there be no doubt about it that I'm going to hold them accountable.
And in terms of your books, what's the best way for people to learn more about that?
Probably just go to leadingwithhonor.com is the best way. All of my books and products are on there. We just launched one 2 weeks ago. Well, last week, I guess it was. The new one, and it is about these assessments that I've been talking about a little bit here. And there's a lot a lot of stories in there, and then there are specific details based on our research about 8 factors of human behavior and 16 traits. So we use the bell curve. So, it's so clear to see, like I'm on the right on several of the factors, and my wife is always on the left. If she's on the right, I'm on the left. So we are 2 standard deviations. We're 2 standard deviations apart on every factor of personality except one, and that's patience. She has a lot, and I have none. So you can imagine, we've been married 45 years, but you can imagine having to learn to deal with differences because, it's the other person's struggle. The person who's different from you, it's their struggles that drive you nuts.
Mm. And
but leading with
so
honor,
the name of your most recent book, please.
Yeah, it's Leadership Behavior DNA. That's the name of our assessment. Leadership Behavior DNA. And then the subtitle is Discovering Natural Talents and Managing Differences.
Man, that's awesome. I love it. And I'm taking a look at your work in the website, and I also see your other book, Leading with Honor. All great stuff there. So, Lee, let's give it to the audience one more time. I know there's some people driving in their car, they're at work, and they're thinking, wait, what was that? What was the contact again? What's the contact for people to follow up with Leading with Honor?
Yes, it's leadingwithhonor.com. And also I have a public Facebook at Leading with Honor Facebook, and a Twitter, Leon Lee Ellis. My real name is Leon, but I go by Lee a lot. So Leon Lee Ellis is also the name you'll find. If you Google that, you'll find a lot of stuff.
Perfect. Well, hey, Lee, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work that you're doing over at Leading with Honor, and also your new book, Leadership Behavior DNA, Discovering Natural Talents and Managing Differences. So everyone go out and pick that up. And Lee, thanks again for coming on the show. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a review in the Apple iTunes Store. Do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Lee, thanks again, and congrats on the new book.